This is Muta. He feels scammed by Star Citizen and gave up on it, but that is a clickbait headline. He loves the game. He really does. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Montoya. Some Ordinary Gamers is the name of the channel. 3.5 million subscribers for Muta over here. He's done very well over the years. And he's got a very, very long, almost a documentary about Star Citizen. He's a lot more informed on this project than I thought he would be. Now, I've been following his channel for some time, and I had no idea that he followed Star Citizen as closely as he did. But he goes on for an hour talking about all aspects of it. We're not going to cover the whole thing. His conclusion at the end is that Star Citizen needs to bring in a publisher to rein them in and set goals, which is I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. The entire reason Chris Roberts went this way with a Kickstarter was to avoid bringing in a publisher to get to exactly that. So I know it's kind of irony that he's saying they should bring in a publisher to do exactly what they're trying to avoid. We'll discuss that at the end. Let's go through his points and see what he says. Ready? Let's go.
It's me, Mutahar, and welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. Today we're covering a creepypasta known as Star Citizen. Yes, will this game ever release? Ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to do a little dive into a game that I have been waiting for quite a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Citizen is a game that I'm sure every single one of you have heard. And, you know, a few years ago I uploaded a video on my channel, pretty much an off-the-cuff stream segment, where I kind of crapped on Star Citizen incredibly.
This is common. If you remember a couple of years back, and I said this 5-6 years ago, there will come a time when the tide shifts. It was very common to wake up every morning or at least once a week, see some YouTuber or some major publication explain how Star Citizen is a gigantic scam, and there was his video there too. But he turns out to actually love the game.
And the reality is, I'm a bit jaded from this game's development. Now, in recent months, I've come back to Star Citizen, played it, and part of me maybe has developed Stockholm Syndrome because I've kind of enjoyed my time. But
I don't know why they call it Stockholm Syndrome. I mean, you're free to leave at any time. I have friends who backed very, very early on and are gone. No one has to stick around. Don't feel an obligation to stick around. People come and go. And I don't say why people, this is not the first time I've heard it. People say they have Stockholm Syndrome. They feel they have to stick with it. Like, you don't. You really don't.
The more I look into this game's development, the more and more it hurts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Star Citizen is a space simulator exclusively for the PC.
He's going to go on to explain the ins and outs of the game, but let's jump to the first kind of points he make, which is the pricing on the ships, which is always a fascinating discussion to have because, like most of you,
they're pulling in.
We'll stop here. Before we dive into him talking about the ship prices, yes, I know it is very strange. When you look at it from the outside, the concept of spending $50, $100, $150 on an internet spaceship is insane. But there are people out there that have spent $2,000 on the recent sale of the Kraken. How is that possible? Are they suffering from Stockholm Syndrome? The truth of the matter is that there are people there with the financial means to do so, and CIG is catering to that demographic. In my YouTube channel, the average demographic is the 34 to 45-year-old age range. These are individuals that work, they have disposable income, and if they want to drop $1,000, $2,000 on an internet spaceship, they can. I would feel very differently if these were teenagers, the 16 or 17-year-olds buying that. I'd be concerned. But in my experience, the people buying these packages are at a different stage in their lives where they can. So keeping that in mind, let's listen to what Muto has to say.
7.9 million, $23 million, okay, in one specific month.
He's talking about the Invictus. They're pulling in big money during these events.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might be like, well, god damn, how are they actually getting that much money? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how things go. Thankfully, there is actually an event going on, the Invictus launch week 2953, because everything in this goddamn game has to be so in-universe. So, of course, let's look at what...
So, this is something that CIG, I don't want to say they stumbled into, but when they started selling their in-game items in the game itself, like making a showroom for the ships to make it feel like you're walking into a car dealership, and they're showing you everything under beautiful lighting, Funding exploded. Funding took off huge when they started doing that. When Invictus, IAE, Alien Week, coming up soon, by the way, all started happening, sales exploded. So CIG, I don't think they invented this, but they definitely perfected selling in-game items in the game.
What's going on? Well, you can buy ships from Drake Interplanetary. These are kind of companies in the world of Star Citizen. Yeah, they've got the lore locked down, okay? They've got company names, characters, so on and so forth. And if you actually look into their ship right now, how much do you think the average ship costs? Well, the Buccaneer, which is a rough and tumble frontline scrapper from Drake Interplanetary, costs $110 USD. Well, what's that? What's that? Oh, no, that's actually the price right there. But you could fly it today for free because there's
I know the backers here, the older backers here are kind of numb to that. But remember, there was a time where $100 for an infinite spaceship was insane. In fact, it is kind of crazy if you still think about it. There's games I play right now where I will not bother spending $5. I will not bother spending $10 for something in the game. But when it comes to Star Citizen, it's different for some reason. It's the magic they have.
Event and a free play moment right now. But of course, there's more vehicles. You can get the Caterpillar, haul anywhere at commercial volume. Yeah, do you want to be an Amazon logistics freight officer in space? Yeah, $330 right now. And you might be like, whoa, Mudu, that's just the ship value. For this one, get prepared. How much do you think the Kraken, which is the self-sustaining flying fortress, is going to cost? $200, $300, $400, $1,650 US, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait.
Yeah, we're getting to this point. Oh, don't worry, guys. You can get the Kraken Privateer for $2,000. $2,000, you're saying?
So it's a little more complicated than that. A lot of people have simply upgraded the packages over time. If you have a budget of say $50 a month for some gaming, and let's be honest, what games have come out in recent months which you've bought? Maybe Jedi Survivor, maybe I don't know what, Cyberpunk recently. But if you do have a budget and there's no games, and now you have $200, $300, $400 to spend, what's happened over the period of 10 years is that people have slowly increased the value of what they hold in the game. And through what's called a CCU, it's a cross-chassis upgrade, they've upgraded their ships. So not many people are simply tossing out $2,000 one time. What's happened is people have spent $100 that month, maybe $50 next month, maybe $100 next year. And over a period of 10 years, now people go, hang on, I have $2,000 in this game. If I just add another $50, I can now buy this massive ship. A lot of people I know have simply upgraded over time. But as I said in the beginning, there is a very special demographic involved in this game that can afford this. There are people that can easily toss down $2,000. That's the whales they are targeting, and it's the whales which are buying these large ships.
Muda, that can't be real. Well, that's real. What they've said the ship value is.
He goes on to really give some very accurate information about Star Citizen. I'm surprised by his level of knowledge. He's obviously followed the game very closely. But I want to talk about this little point here where he says there's no reason that CIG, this is something that comes up often, CIG has no reason to actually complete the game because being in perpetual alpha allows him to keep on selling ships. I don't agree with this. Let's hear what he says first.
Corporate companies like Microsoft, EA, whatever, to basically come in and put some reins on him. Tell him, listen, buddy, okay, you might want to go and create some kart racing mini game for Star Citizen, but you gotta at least have the goddamn game made. No, at this moment in time, as long as people keep giving Star Citizen pledge money, they don't really have a reason to complete the project. They don't have a reason to...
Why do people keep on saying that? You know, I hear it a lot. And if you actually talk to the devs who work at Star Citizen, which I've done when we go to Bar Citizens or CitizenCon events and you talk to them, they want to finish this game. They are working to finish this game. They are trying their best to do everything they can. It's everyone else outside the company saying, no, they'll just stay in perpetual alpha and keep on doing it. He also mentioned, this is going to be the point at the end of the video, where he talks about, why doesn't Microsoft come in and just take the reins? This is exactly what Chris Roberts is avoiding. We'll get to that. But the whole idea that they're simply in perpetual alpha purposely, and stretching it out because they don't want to make a game, I don't buy that. I do understand the complexity and the difficulty of what they're trying to do, but if you had to ask any dev, like, be honest with me, give them 4 or 5 beers. This will happen in CIGCon. We'll see them in a couple of months. Give your favorite dev a couple of drinks and say, listen, be truthful with me. Are you purposely stretching this out so you can bring in more money? And if they say, yeah, you got us, okay, they won't say that. It's insane to think that, because they do want to finish the game, and there's more money to be made once the game is out of alpha, is out of beta. Once Squadron 42 is out the door, and there's not going to be a perfect PDU, a perfect PU. Once there is a more perfect game, can you imagine the sales they'll have then? There'll be 10 times more people playing. More people playing means more ship sales. They have incentive to get this out the door, because once they do, there's a lot more people going to come to this game, including Montoya, including a bunch of people from the early years I know who don't even play anymore. Everyone's going to come back in, and that demographic of people returning to a more finished game is going to yield a lot more revenue, in my opinion, as a live service, which arguably I think Star Citizen is right now, more of a live service than just an alpha. But in my opinion, and feel free to disagree, post below, I feel CIG will be making a lot more money with a more polished and finished game than there are now in alpha. So the argument of they are purposely staying in alpha to make money doesn't fly by me. I feel there's a lot more money to be made when this game is more complete. Let's jump forward to the point he's going to make over here, where he says that he's kind of jaded, and he compares it to Star Citizen to Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky. I've got some comments about that. First, let's watch.
Then shouldn't we all be happy? Listen, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people like me that are just completely jaded from the entire situation. At this moment in time, I don't even care if Star Citizen...
Look, the jaded thing is 100% true. As I said before, there's a lot of friends I have who backed this early when I did, and they've just kind of moved along. They've gone to play other games, they've forgotten about this, and they said, you know what, message me when something comes out that's more solid. We're thinking 4.0 with Pyro is probably a step in that direction, but there are a lot of jaded individuals that I'm just tired of it, let me know when there's something more. 100% true, 100% correct.
Citizen comes out, because at this point I've seen other franchises come and create entire experiences, expansions.
I've seen entire franchises come and go, but the point it's going to make here is this.
At this moment, Elite Dangerous pretty much got announced the same time as this. Elite as a franchise has been around forever. They've come out.
All right, the topic of Elite Dangerous, yes, it came out around the same time. Where is Elite Dangerous now compared to Star Citizen? Elite Dangerous is going down the toilet. Not my words. All right? There are plenty of Elite Dangerous players saying, we've had enough. We're jumping ship. The Odyssey expansion, the walking in the ships and everything they've done there, none of it is working properly. We are coming to Star Citizen. The amount of times I've seen on the Star Citizen Reddit saying, I am a former Elite Dangerous player coming to Star Citizen, it happens every single week. There are major content creators from Elite Dangerous jumping ship coming to Star Citizen. Why is that? The reason is this. Elite Dangerous pushed out a game, and a very good game, early on. But everyone's saying the game is a mile wide and inch deep, not much to do. The engine that Elite is built on has reached its limits. What that engine can do is capped. It is done. Star Citizen, still in development, has got the advantage now of continually improving, which they are, the engine to make it work the way they want to. And I know it's an ongoing project. But the thing is, Elite Dangerous has hit its cap of what they can do. Now, I haven't played Elite in many years. Those of you who have played more recently, post below what exactly the big issues are now. But not a week goes by where I don't see people saying, I'm leaving Elite, I'm coming to Star Citizen. In 10 years from now, where will Elite Dangerous be? Maybe there'll be Elite Dangerous 3 at that point. But Star Citizen is still in development. Star Citizen, hopefully, a couple more Star Systems out and working properly at that point in time. And the bottom line of it is, where will this be in 10, 20, 30 years? Star Citizen is a game which we want to be playing in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now. And to create that base, to create that core game experience in the engine, which can carry you there, is taking a hell of a long time. No argument there. Elite Dangerous, they will not be here in 10 years from now. Mark my words. Now, No Man's Sky, I can't really comment about that. He's going to mention No Man's Sky in a second. I played 2 hours of No Man's Sky. I refunded the game. I didn't like it. Didn't speak to me. I know a lot of people playing it, enjoying it, but it is not exactly the same experience as Star Citizen. It is not as deep. The core mechanics are not exactly the same as that. Perhaps anyone here who does play No Man's Sky, post below what your experience is and how that compares to Star Citizen. I don't play it. I can't comment on that.
With their game, they've come out with expansion packs. They've even got bad press associated. No Man's Sky got announced, released, panned by the gaming community, then updated to an absolutely stellar space game.
Good point that he's making. Like, No Man's Sky came out, got a lot of hate, fixed themselves up, and went on. Very rare to see that happen, but I'm very happy No Man's Sky managed to pull that off. All right, let's jump to his opinion on him visiting Microtech for the first time, which is pretty cool. Check this out.
Is a planet that is far off into the northern side of the system, but it is arguably one of the most expansive hub worlds and also one of the most beautiful ones. I remember the absolute feeling of flying to this location with my friends, landing in the same place together. We were in the same ship, and then taking the tram and just looking into the horizon and seeing this massive city that we were flying into.
It's nice to hear this, because if you've been playing this game for a while, you kind of become numb to that. You and 5 friends on a ship, and you land and you dock the ship and you walk out of the ship and you catch an elevator. I know we all hate the elevators. And you catch the tram and it takes you to a location. There's a huge bar and there's things happening. It's so impressive. I keep forgetting that because we've done so many times. But it's nice to hear with fresh eyes how he liked the experience.
There were so many shops and so many locations and so many things to see and buy that genuinely it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
And you're right, we forget that. It is a very impressive experience. And this is just the core part of the game where you're just moving from one spot to another. When actual gameplay, game loops come into that, it's going to be so much better. And that's the reason why a lot of us stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen, do I recommend this game? No! Because
But why?
Ladies and gentlemen, as fun as that experience was, the game is still wholly incomplete. Yes, the game is an alpha. Of course it's supposed to be incomplete, Muda. The problem with Star Citizen is a game that is too ambitious. And it is really a game that obviously they've...
So, is a game being too ambitious a problem? In the sense that it's not getting complete, yes. But I'm not going to speak for everyone. You feel free to disagree again. I am in my 40s now. I'm closing in on my 50s soon, all right? It takes a lot to impress me. I've been gaming since Pong. I've seen the progression from the very beginning. There's something I am looking for in a game, which has not existed until Star Citizen started touching on it. Star Citizen is the game which I want to be overambitious. I want that game where I'm going to take off from a planet here, land on a planet there, drop down my Coke can. That Coke can will be there in a week from now because that's how it's supposed to be. The overly ambitious scope of this game is something that I want. That's why I back this game. I don't want another experience with zombies. I don't want some other experience in the next Fallout. Actually, I do not know if another Fallout game. But the point is, there are no other game devs pushing the limit like Star Citizen is doing. That's why I and thousands of others continue to back Star Citizen.
They've got the money to see it to completion, but with a team like RSI and Chris Roberts being the visionary that he is, I don't actually see an end goal in sight. This game really needs somebody to come in with a corporate mind and just actually start putting in goals and hitting those goals to begin with.
All right, fair enough. Chris Roberts is taking a long time. Now, if there were investors pressuring him, if there was a publisher, would this get out faster? Yes, likely so. But what would that final product look like? Just take a look at recent game releases and tell me where this has worked out well. Let's start with a couple of years ago. Can we even say the name Anthem? Anthem, can we say that? All right, let me just show you what was tweeted recently from one of the Anthem devs, and that made me so sad again. And then this was Ian Satterdellen, who worked in it, and he goes, I learned a lot in the project. We knew it wasn't ready, as this game was literally created in 15 months. They pushed it out the door. I am still sad about that. All right, that would have been an awesome game. But the publisher came in, the investors came in and said, you guys get this game out, and they did. Where is Anthem now? Non-existent. So this argument of let's get a publisher in and get it out, yeah, if tomorrow EA came in or if tomorrow Microsoft came in, they would get Star Citizen out within 6 months, maybe in a year. But where will the game be? It will be a disaster. More recently, Cyberpunk. What happened to Cyberpunk? Now, Cyberpunk is by CD Projekt Red, which is a public company. Public companies have shareholders. Shareholders want to see the profits. Shareholders pushed to get Cyberpunk out the door. Do I need to explain everything that happened to Cyberpunk? I don't think I need to. But that's what happens when you have publishers, when you have investors. They want to get it out. They want their profits. The game will be unfinished. Tough cookies. Who cares? Jedi Survivor, most recently. You played Jedi Survivor, didn't you? What were the problems? I heard the PC port was bad. I haven't played it yet. I'm waiting for the game to go on sale. But frame drops, PC port wasn't done. The game needs another 6 months to bake at least. Why? Because EA says you get this game out now. There you go. So will a publisher get Star Citizen out sooner? Absolutely yes. Will Star Citizen be in any kind of shape, and will it be well received? Absolutely not. So weigh it out, guys. What do you want? Do you want another unfinished game hitting the market, or do you want this game to just let it grow, let it ferment? Is the right word? Let it bake. Let's see what happens, because we've had a ton of games. Anthem, Cyberpunk, Jedi Survivor, whatever is going to come out in the next couple of months. Starfield coming out soon from Bethesda. How much do you want to bet that there'll be problems with Starfield? What do you want to bet? As long as Bethesda's working on it, but we know what Bethesda releases are like. Bethesda has shareholders to appease. Also, there are people pushing the game to get out. Now, whether or not it's going to be complete when it does come out, well, it's not going to be, let's face it. How many more times do you need to see this? So Star Citizen has taken a different approach. And now that they're taking a different approach, the criticism, well, they need a publisher to get it out anyway. Debatable. Yeah, 100% Microsoft had pushed it out the door, but in what state?
You know, for a lot of us people who were finding these sandworms and all these cool little pieces of tech interesting at one moment in time, in the last few years, a lot of individuals that were once Star Citizen messiahs have pretty much given up on this game and have pretty much thrown it into obscurity.
He's talking about some content creators which have moved on. I'm not sure who he's talking about exactly. If anything, I've seen a lot more bigger content creators come back to Star Citizen. Bed Bananas, Ali, or two of the big YouTubers I can think of recently has put a lot of time and great content into Star Citizen. I've seen massive Twitch streamers come play Star Citizen when new patches drop. There's definitely a lot of interest, but we're hitting on time here, guys, so let's move along. The bottom line of it is that, no, bringing in a publisher, while they will get the game out, it's just going to be one more game which we say, bad launch, and we're going to move on. So should we try something different? Yeah, I think so. Will it take 15 years? Absolutely yes. But I'm tired of the same old rushed out games with broken mechanics. I am happy to let this percolate. I am happy to let this bake for a while longer and see what CIG can put out. It might not be perfect, but so far, I like what I see, and I'm hoping that if you follow this channel and mine, you like what you see too. So with that, ladies and gents, let's wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and comments below, always appreciated. I'll catch you in the next one.